Hi, so today I thought I'd talk about when children are first diagnosed with autism, some of the advice that I like to give parents when they ask, my child has autism, they were just diagnosed, what are some of the things I can do right now to help them? One of the first things that I think you should do is contact the state, um, contact like state social issue type programs, Department of Human Services type of stuff, and see what kind of birth to three programs are available. You'd be surprised at how many free government programs basically that children of special needs are eligible for. So go and look up your Department of Health and Human Services in your area, in your state, and give them a call. They will lead you to the right people. Just keep asking. Say I have a kid with autism. I want to see what kind of programs might be available to them to help them with, speech, occupational stuff, sensory issues, whatever the issues are. Just let them know I got a kid with autism and they need help. And they should be able to direct you to the right programs. Also, while you're talking with DHSH, is that right? DSA, yeah, Department of Health, yeah, DHSH. We call it DHSH in my state of Texas. But it may be called something else where you are, but basically call the human services in your area. You can look into health insurance if you have health insurance as well, and see if they cover things like speech therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral therapy. Sometimes when you call the state to look into these programs, you can get kind of a parent liaison that will help you kind of navigate what your child's needs are and where you might be able to find services for them. I know that if you go in Texas to the local school district and you let them know, even if your child isn't of school age, and you let them know you have a child with autism, do they have any autism resources? They should have a parent liaison available at in most school districts that will be able to guide you to different programs that are available even for the little ones that aren't in school yet. One of the other things that might be addressed early on is diet. Some children do really well or have at least improvement of certain conditions whenever they are given a gluten-free diet. I know when my son Ryan was little, we tried gluten-free and casein-free, which is a dairy protein, and we eliminated all that from his diet for a couple of months. It did not improve a lot of things cognitively, but it did help him stop tiptoe walking, and it helped him stop drooling. And those were two pretty big issues that he had at the time that completely cleared up. Once he came off the diet after about 4 or 5 months, he did not have any regression on the tiptoe walking or the drooling. So it did, like, whatever the mechanism was, something helped him quit tiptoe walking and drooling with that GFCF diet. So you might look into diet, see what the latest diet trends are for people with autism. And when I say diet trends, we're not trying to lose weight here. We are simply trying to optimize our children's gut health, because the gut and the brain are directly connected to each other, as science has now enlightened us to. So please be sure and see how you can best clean up your child's diet while they're little and try to get them eating as healthy as possible, because those habits that they get into now are going to be really hard to break as they get older. And sometimes you can try, and some kids with autism are very stubborn. You're not going to be able to change their diet. That's okay. You tried. That's the most important part. So keep doing that. I would also look online and see if there's support groups in your areas. Some of these support groups, you may have to kind of vet them. I know my husband and I went to a support group when our son was really little and had just got diagnosed. And basically it was a bitch fest. And at first it was very comforting to have other parents that were like, oh, I have to deal with this and I have to deal with that and this sucks and that sucks. And it was like, yeah, that sucks. I agree. I'm so glad you know what I'm feeling and thinking and have been through. And after a while, the bitch fest got really old. It didn't take too long. We went to probably about 5 or 6 meetings. They met like once a month. And we realized, wow, these people, all they do is complain. And they're not really doing a whole lot to give solutions. And so we were getting kind of burned out on that. So we actually started to kind of hop around to different support groups until we found a support group, which was actually through the school district. And it was before our son went to school. So you'd be surprised, the school district can actually be quite beneficial to children even when they aren't in school yet. And they found support groups for us, and we finally found a support group that really was supportive. We were sharing a lot of good information with each other. And so I would look into support groups, and you may have to test the waters on these and see where you stand with the people that are involved in these groups. Finally, the most important advice that I would give is whenever you call up the Department of Health and Human Services, or whatever it's called in your area, be sure and ask them if there are any programs for the future that you can go ahead and sign up for. Because there are a couple of financial aid type programs in our area. One of them is called the CLASS program, the acronym CLASS. I am not going to lie, right now I do not remember what CLASS stands for, but what I do know is that Ryan was on the waiting list for CLASS for about 9 years, maybe even 10. And we signed him up when he was 4. So we were very, very glad that we actually took the time to sign him up for this and get him in the CLASS waiver program. Because now CLASS pays for rec therapy, occupational therapy, massage therapy, music therapy, whatever kind of legitimate mainstream therapies that you want to try with your autistic child that you think would benefit them, they are covered under the CLASS program. And we will stay under the CLASS program as long as Ryan lives with us. And then at some point, if we feel as though we've kind of run the gamut on the CLASS program, maybe Matt and I are getting a little too old, we kind of want to look into group housing for Ryan, we will switch over to something called HCS, which I do not remember what the initials stand for, but instead of being on the CLASS program, we will be on the HCS program, which will pay for his housing. So there are all kinds of alternatives out there. You really have to dig for them though. So don't be afraid to do your homework. Don't be afraid to call your local school district, to call your local health and human services and pick their brains and find out everything that's available to you and your kids. And be sure to sign up for those programs when they're little, because some of those programs have literally 15 to 20 year waiting lists now. So do it now. They will once a year call you and say, do you want to continue being on this program? And no matter where you are in your journey, you just say, yes, please keep my kid so-and-so in the program. And they will keep you in the program until you come up to the top of the list. And even if you came up to the top of the list and you said, oh, I don't really need the services right now, you can always say, but keep me on the list. That way you don't go all the way back to the end of the line for services. So anyways, if you can think of anything else that was really helpful advice, for other people when they came to you for advice that you used for your autistic child, please put it in the comments. And thank you very much for taking the time out to listen. Have a good day.